Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Chronicle podcast. I'm your guys' host, Dakota Morgan, friendly neighborhood podcaster, animal caretaker, dinosaur enthusiast, comic book writer, all the jazz like that. Today, we do not have an interview, but it is a review episode / a why you should fucking watch it episode today. I have my girlfriend here, Michaela.
Hi.
Who's been on the show before with some reviews.
Yes, I have.
The fuck was that? Like Beavis and Butthead fucking laugh right there. We just got done doing some Dino Times, which is more censored, even in my realm of a show. And now we just get to say whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, I've just been waiting for this.
Yeah, because it's very uncensored and shit. So, because we're talking about comics and stuff like that, so today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. But before I get into that, I do want to say, I know it has been a few weeks since our last episode. I did mention the last one, that I did get a new job as an emergency animal medical technician with the Arizona Humane Society, meaning I'm in the field all the time with an ambulance. I'm doing investigations. I'm doing a shit ton of training. I'm in a hospital working too every now and then with the animal hospital, plus on top of doing my exotic caretaking as a croc keeper and all the jazz like that, and trying to relax and deal with the crazy shit I see every day that make people like kill themselves or cry their eyes out every night. So I needed a little bit of time there to focus on that a little bit, but we're going to be coming back with you guys, and it's some new episodes here, and hopefully some really fun guests coming on. And of course, we're going to have all the other co-hosts come back as well for some really cool talk show episodes, to say the least, as our cat fucking knocks on the door. But today we're going to be talking about something very interesting, something very fucking dear to my heart. The DMZ comic book series has been made into a TV show and has been out on HBO Max now for about a month. And we watched all 4 episodes of this limited series. But we're getting into why that pisses me off as a limited series. But DMZ, my dear beloved, DMZ, the book series by Vertigo, around for 10 years, 12 volumes. I've read it all. You read volume 1.
Yes, and it took me a very long time to do it.
Now, why?
I don't know. It didn't really pique my interest as much. And then I think you told me how the story plays out over time, not just like in the first volume. And then I think I just kind of binged it. I'm just like, you know what? Let me just get it done. Let me finish it. And I wasn't disappointed.
What'd you think?
About the story?
About volume 1, at least. We'll get into the show in a second. But what'd you think about DMZ volume 1? Because that affects the show heavily.
Oh, yeah. I liked it. I thought it was very different than what I'm usually used to reading in comics.
Because DMZ is not the sci-fi, fantasy, superhero book you expect from a DC Vertigo title.
Yeah,
it's not
true.
Sandman, Saga.
It's
grounded, very real, very fucking real, and very dark. Very dark.
Very graphic.
Like children being bombed,
yeah.
dark.
And the characters are also different too, like their personalities.
Not from book to TV show, or just in the book itself? Because in the book itself, the characters, not 2 of them are alike.
No?
What do you think about it? You got Wilson. You never met Delgado, but he's in the show.
No, I liked Wilson.
Wilson, Z, Maddie. Maddie sucks, but Maddie gets better, and then Maddie sucks again, and then he gets better. He's that lovable lug character that you're like, what the fuck?
I fucking hate Maddie so much.
Yeah, most people do. Most people do. And, going into just reading volume 1, I definitely think you could take a lot from the show after just reading volume 1, even though some of the characters you don't really know. Well, sit down. So,
no, I was just going to stand for this.
Taking that into consideration.
Oh, yeah, I figured that out, because there were some things that were in the show that I was like, oh, hey, I remember that happening in the books. There were, like, very, very just small details, but I remember it even from the first volume.
Yes, yeah, and some of the things in there and some of the characters did appear later on in the show. I should make it clear, though, that we're going to get into the show in a second here, but I definitely think that if you watch the show and then read the books, you get way more out of the books. Way more out of the books.
I think it's because there's just a lot more that goes on. And you did say that it is a limited series, so they probably have to push.
But it wasn't gonna be either. It was gonna be a full series of a show. Mm-hmm. You think of what you could do with that show with a full season. From what I told you with like the Ghosts of Central Park, Delgado is a whole big thing anyway there, so they kind of did that one already. But like with Wilson, with Z, with Maddie going over to the other side.
I just fucking love how you're like, if it does not end with him arriving in the middle of it like he did in the comics, I'm gonna fucking throw this TV.
Oh, and I almost threw the TV. I really did. We should make so going into the show though. I definitely gotta say right off the bat, I fucking loved it.
Oh, I did too.
It was so good.
It actually makes the books kind of better because I saw everything happen. Not.
But I tell you, this is the movies. Not the movie. The limited series show was a quarter of the books.
Yeah.
And the books, and it changed stuff in the books. There was no Maddie.
No.
Maddie's gone.
No.
They replaced Maddie. They mixed Z with Maddie.
Yeah.
In a way there too. They really, really did. There is, I think it's maybe volume 2 where they have a collection of stories of people. I don't know if volume 1 had that or not. There was a collection of stories of people throughout the DMZ, and Z, I think, gave her testimony about her. Maddie's interviewing people and shit. And you find out there are so many wonderful individuals. The people who control the water, by the way, that's a person in DMZ.
Yeah.
The people who control, like, Delgado's Nation, some of the Gaines, the guy who had his spray paint with the names and shit like that, that's in the books, too. Which was interesting to see.
I remember that because that was in volume 1, and I remember when I saw that in the show, I was like, "Oh, I remember that."
Yeah. I remember though there was no, there was a lot more in the show. Yeah, I was stick with the positive first. Stick with the positive. What I liked about the show, we should say the acting. The acting was fucking nominal. Rosario Dawson and crew. Phenomenal acting, to say the least here. There was Delgado, I believe, was African-American in the books, so they changed that up a little bit. But then to Latino, which is totally fine on me, because it makes more sense in Manhattan these days than anything. So I was like, okay, cool.
Was his gang the Spanish?
Well, obviously not, if he was African-American, but...
it wasn't like that in the book?
No, but he still had that.
I never got to him.
No,
so.
he had a nuke in the books.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. He had a nuke, and it went off in, I think, Jersey or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's fun. A little spoiler, guys. We should clarify this. This is a spoiler review. But, I mean, we should say this is also why you should watch it. But, so I guess we shouldn't get too into spoilers with it. That's a book spoiler.
Yeah.
That's a book spoiler. But, I mean, let's not get too deep into the spoilers of this show. I guess we could say that. But I definitely think this show, because this is going to be why people should watch it. So I definitely think that, like, people should watch this because the acting's great. Delgado's great. Wilson's fantastic. Wilson's my Wilson, man. Wilson is great. In the books, he looked kind of a little bit more older than he is. In there, too, but that's fine. Him and Z also, with that backstory, by the way, is legit.
Yeah.
That's legit in the books. They talk about that.
Yeah.
As he was nothing, and then he became, like, gang leader and shit in Chinatown.
Yeah, because I think from what I remember in the books, how he was introduced is not how he was introduced in the show. He was like...
He was a sniper in the books.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's
just
like...
oh, hey, my girlfriend's right there.
Yeah, there's some hot woman sniper across the way, too. Yeah. So I definitely think, like, seeing that... And they really build up the world, though. I think they really, really build it up. Like... The Free States of America, the United States of America, the Civil War going on. You see a destroyed Manhattan.
You can also tell, like, they kind of wanted to make it kind of how the artistry looks in the comics. They kind of had to do with the lighting in some scenes.
Yeah, with the lighting, definitely with that. And then the fact being with that intro, the intro scene with DMZ, like their intro credits, that was straight out of the covers for sure. Yeah. That's wonderful crew. The effects were really good in the show, actually. The effects were really good. The costuming was brilliant. The set design was brilliant. What'd you think about all those?
I thought it was pretty good. I really liked how, like, even in the beginning when they show Claire before she gets in there, she's like, how everything is.
You mean my girl Z?
Did I say Claire?
Yeah.
I'm still on fucking your book.
Oh, it's just the Evolution of Claire,
I'm
Jurassic
still on
World
that.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on that for some reason. When I'm gonna call you Z. When Z was still in her when she was a nurse outside of it, and she was still trying to explain people like, oh, you're in this territory, we're not. And she like brings out the map, and you see
how bad it is, because it is bad. The United States is really bad at that point. Like, and they're in a ceasefire at the moment there, which ceasefires are bullshit because there's no peace or anything like that. It's just we're gonna quit fighting for a minute here, which in the books those lasted for an issue. So to see it last for the whole 4 episodes was amazing, even though it almost didn't. But that's a whole thing. We're not going to get into spoilers. But, seeing the free states of America with their even outfits and their star, and everything like that in the United States, they really dove into it. I wish they dove into there's a whole 3 issues about where they dove into the origin of the free states of America. They never did. They never talked too much about the war on the outside, what happened on the war on the outside or anything like that, which I did like in the show because this show is to capture. It captured in a different way, but it captured still what the books were meant to, I think. And you never read all the books, but even in that volume 1, you can tell this series is to show you the brutalities of war, but it's on American soil, so it's supposed to hit you differently because America's in a civil war. It's what it is. America's in a civil war going on, which the way they rise up, by the way, is very fucking plausible. And it's to show the brutalities of war, and that showed that maybe war is not often the best case for anything, and that war is actually pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And Mike said, yeah, that's the thing about it, and that's what I loved about the books, and the books captured it all from that, like, what would happen if this actually did happen. We have that going on. We have the show that it does so much for it, and it brings to life her. Like, she's walking through, and you see it's in the trailer. You do see like a destroyed Manhattan block, and they have the hot zone still going on, where there is still actively gunfire going on. And through the power of editing, we are back. Somebody here had to go to the bathroom, but taking a look at it there, I really do appreciate that in a way, and I think this show is just so beautiful in that. And it came out right after a couple of weeks of the Ukraine war going on. It's still at the moment of this recording. So I think that was pretty good with it, too.
Yeah, I think that kind of really tied into what's actually going on right now.
It does. Yeah. Oh, it very much does. It very, very much does. So, I mean, we have that in there. We have this show that just captures these books so well, and it captures like the people side of things because it captures them doing an election, which happened in the books. It captures them trying to survive with the gains and the territory split up and such like that, and they're all scared still because you do see that too, that they are scared because if the ceasefire ends, those territories are gone. They are absolutely gone, and it's not going to fucking matter anymore. So that's the only reason why they mentioned it a few different times. The only reason why we have these territories is because the ceasefire is going on. Yeah. And if that ends, the 2 sides are going to go in, and it's going to be living hell. Yeah. I thought the show was great with that. Before we get into the bad things about it, what's your side? What's your take?
I thought that I agree with that. It's funny, like when I first started reading it, I was very shocked to like see that is that what was that?
I don't know, my phone just started playing music.
Cuz like how when you first see Maddie, like his helicopter gets shot down in the comics, right?
Yep.
And how it's just like nonstop, just constant shooting battles all the time in the streets and all that.
Because it's a war zone.
Yeah.
It is a war zone, and there's no ceasefire going on.
Yeah, and then in the show, there's like kids running around playing. Everyone's happy. The streets are all bright and full of color.
But in that millisecond later, it turns to shit. But in the books, remember, that was a thing too, was that there were people, because there's so many people still there, that there were sections of it where kids could run around. People could shop and shit like that. Well, remember what Z said in the books? She said everybody here thinks that we're just surviving off of rats and we're all savages and things, but here's a vegan shop we're in a vegan restaurant up top on a skyscraper right now. We're all gardening. We have a market down below. Like there
which
is,
I really
which
like
they
that,
did show. They did show that was a thing in there, like, because then in that millisecond later, it turned into, oh shit, we're in an active war zone and people are getting sniped right now and everything looks like shit and it's still wrecked. But in the territories they have, like Wilson and Delgado, they try to keep it up, That's what I liked about it. But they all knew that's why nobody wanted the active fire to start, because as soon as active fire starts, everyone's going to start dying again.
Yeah.
Which I did not like, by the way.
No?
I did not like it. I thought there was a lot of emphasis on the fact being that there was an episode out of the 4 that really took me out of, this is a war zone, a DMZ zone where an active war is happening, and it made me think for like 20 minutes of, oh, this isn't the apocalypse and the world hasn't ended yet. It's just, but there's still a war going on out there. To me, it took me out of it for a little bit there. It really did. But I think that was like episode 3 it was. But episode 3 had so many other feels later on. But I definitely think they could have done more with that fact in there. Maybe it's because it was the TV show got canned to 4 episodes. I think that might have been what it was. Because it was an active war zone, because they're in a living hell most of the time. But it seemed at some points in the show too peaceful. But I know that's why, and they did mention as why, because there is a ceasefire going on. But in the comics, ceasefires only happened twice, and they barely, like I said, they barely lasted.
I guess they didn't want to make it, like, too graphic, I guess.
I think it has to do with the show being cut down.
Yeah,
I think it does.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, otherwise you would see all of that shit. You would see the brutality of the world that they face when they're not fighting each other.
I think they were trying to maybe make it so, like, time passed from episode 1 to episode 4, because she was only there for, like, what, 2 weeks by the end of?
She was there for a couple months.
Oh, okay.
At the end of it, I think she was there for a couple months. Z was, but I definitely think I don't really know. I don't really know on that fact. They did capture the U.S. being dicks though, because the U.S. are absolutely dicks in that book series.
Yeah.
They bomb the hell out of kids and they didn't even care. Free states were actually kind of better, but they're still sort of redneck assholes. So there is that factor of it too. But that took me out of it, to be honest with you. There, knowing the book series and such like that too, and there were some opportunities in the show that they could have put some characters in from the books, especially if you knew it was a limited series. But
Wilson.
we're not getting into spoilers about Wilson, but that kind of pissed me off too.
That's really what only pissed me off.
Yeah, I was not gonna say what happened, but something happened to Wilson. So there is that factor of it, but I don't know. I want more. That's the thing. That's why I think I wanted to make this episode on it. Is because yes, sirs, if you know the book series very well, there is some facts in here like what the fuck. If you don't know the book series even at all, it's a good show. I hope if we get more episodes, we go into the fact that this isn't like in the books we get them fighting amongst themselves for a little bit, but then we go back to this is still the war zone. This is still living hell. This is a demilitarized zone. There is still a civil war going on.
Yeah, I think they kind of, or at least they didn't like mention or hint at. I think I just kind of got that from watching it myself. Was the election between.
Which was the
Wilson
thing.
and yeah.
That was the thing in the
like,
books.
It was like, oh, whose side are you going to choose?
Both sides are rigged.
But both are,
which is
both
the
are
books.
that way.
Which is
kind
the
of
books.
like how it is outside of it, you know?
Yeah, because it's all fucking rigged. It's all being played by all the sides in there because nobody wants the Manhattan demilitarized zone to become its own nation and shit like that. It's a whole thing and a half. And it's all in the trailer, by the way. So it's... That factor is kind of my only negative things about it because it was shortened and I think there was so many more possibilities with it. But if you watch the show and you go read the books, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. I think you'll still love it.
No, because you said that they also brought in like some characters that were later in the series, like in like the first episode, like Delgado was one. What was that one little boy's name? Albie? Is that what his name is?
Something like that. Yeah, I think he was in the books a little bit.
And he's actually in the books.
Yeah, Z being in there and stuff like that too. Yeah, no, it was really, God damn. You just want more of it. It was so fucking good. Fuck you to people who are not watching this show. You guys suck because you need to watch DMZ because if we can get more episodes, brilliant. Check out everybody's amazing acting, the amazing effects, the amazing story. I thought it was still a wonderfully great story. I really I thought it captured a lot of good hit points from the book. But I just want I'm like a cheap fucking New York broad. I want more.
God damn it. And I feel like they ended it in possibly a good situation where they could possibly make more. Like that could be, Z's backstory to how she actually becomes that medic and all. And
well, she is still.
That, yeah.
She is the medic.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and how it is in the comics when she first meets Matt, she's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Because
and all
Z
that.
is legendary and shit in the books already. Not to the point she is in the show, but she is legendary in the books. I definitely think there's more room for shit there too. We're coming at the end of this episode though, folks. But overall, I love DMZ. I really fucking did. I want it injected into my veins, man. That shit is that is my favorite indie comic book series. I'm gonna say it, my favorite indie comic book series.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Saga's right behind it.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
Saga's right
pretty
behind
good.
it. I like it better than Sandman.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think Sandman's pretty good too.
You know why Sandman's a good escapism, but then DMZ reminds you what to fight for. DMZ reminds you of the brutalities.
Reminds you of
And
all
it
the shit that
and it
happens
shows
in
you
the real world.
yes, and it shows you how stupid it is, and that maybe you know what you can actually be human and stand up against it, man. That's what I love about it. I really that ending of the book series made me fucking cry so hard. So, what did you think though? Before we end the show here, what overall experience?
Overall, it was really good. I think, as someone who took a long time to just read the first volume, it has now made me kind of want to read more. You know?
We can make that happen.
Well, do you have them?
Zia, here we go.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to my first couple volumes. Oh, I know why, because I lent it to an acting friend of mine, and then he went to fucking Hollywood and took the volume 1 and 2 collection I had. That was really cool. But yes, so there is that. Thanks everybody for joining on this episode of the Comic Chronicle podcast. But make sure you guys check out DMZ, which we didn't say what it was on, by the way. HBO Max. Which the fuck we should have said that. We're so professional. It's been a long time since I did in this episode. HBO Max, folks, go check it out. DMZ, all 4 episodes out now. Oh, fucking hell, do yourself a favor. Be cultured and watch this fucking show for some great entertainment here. You guys all rock, everybody. Make sure you guys subscribe for new episodes of the Comic Chronicle podcast, wherever you guys check out podcasts. I'm on Twitch, CodaRex97, Twitter at DakotaMorgan3, and Instagram at Dakota_Morgan97. Where can they find you at, love, to check out your shit?
Oh, to check out my shit? I don't know.
What's your ASMR channel?
Oh, bad. That's going down the toilet just like the shit. The YouTube, my YouTube ASMR channel is Chaotic Sweetness ASMR, and then my Instagram is Michaela_Jane.
There we go. Thanks, everybody. You guys all rock, folks. And remember, everybody, stay creative.